Before I get into the daily forecast and some of the current conditions as of earlier this morning on a Monday, I just want to talk about one of the big background things that people have been monitoring, talking about, and I think it needs a little bit more explanation and depth. And what we're talking about here is the flood control for the Sacramento area. Now, we know through history that the Sacramento Valley as a whole has flooded many times catastrophically. And so they've spent billions upon billions of dollars building all sorts of infrastructure to capture water in some cases, but more or less prevent too much all at once and move it away from populated areas. Two of the main areas of interest are the Sacramento River, the headwaters surrounding where Shasta Lake is, and then there are releases along the way. And then also the Feather River. The headwaters is roughly where Oroville is, and then there's a dam and then releases along the way as well. They converge south of Knight's Landing in an area called the Fremont Weir, and that's just a concrete curb where they come over, and if water gets too high, it just spills over and starts filling in this natural floodplain called the Yolo Bypass. Now, our concern for the Sacramento area is an area called the Sacramento Weir. Now, this is a flood control apparatus. It was built back in 1916, but it still works, and there's many improvements along the way in the next few years. But for knowledge purposes, it's a series of gates. And what happens is when there's just too much water coming into the Sacramento River, they will start opening these gates manually, releasing water through this bypass here, and then it eventually goes into the Yolo bypass underneath the causeway between Davis and Sacramento, and then eventually out to sea. And what it does is it relieves the pressure of all these twists and turns of the leveed Sacramento River, which is near very densely populated areas. So again, it's releasing water to just bleed it off a little bit so there's less water going through these populated areas. Now, as of this morning, it was up 26.5 feet. For some perspective, the highest crest, and this is changing, by the way. If anything, the trend is down, which is a good thing, right around 28, 27 feet by Tuesday afternoon. Now, the record was 30.5 feet back in 1986, but here's something interesting. I think this is very telling. Flood stage is considered 33.5 stage. Now, the record is below flood stage, meaning that we have not had flooding along the Sacramento River since all the various flood control devices, apparatus, weirs, dams, everything else, bypasses have been put into place. The one thing that's saving us on this Monday is that Shasta and Oroville, two of the big ones that hold back the Sacramento River and the Feather River, are below capacity, obviously, even below average, so they can absorb some of the incoming water. Trinity, by the way, is also one of those big reservoirs that's below average for this time of year. The other ones that are above, Millerton, Folsom, active flood control right now, removing water to make way for more water coming in. Every single spot for Northern California is now above average for rainfall, which is good. And we had just a bunch coming in. The really bad storm that came in Saturday night, Sunday morning was a lot of wind. Rain, yes, but the wind was just too much on soft ground. That's where we saw all the trees come down with 60-mile-per-hour winds. And then we saw the overnight rain between Sunday and Monday. Then we're going to see clearing through Monday. This is good. This allows water to come down eventually. It comes up for a little bit once the rain stops, then it starts to come down. This is your classic atmospheric river. We've got low pressure tapping into deep moisture. The most important thing about this system as it moves and grinds its way down to central and southern California is that it's going to start pulling in cold air. So even though it's been warm, we eventually start to pull in cold air. The snow level starts to drop, and that means more snow eventually for the Sierra with some of this cold air. The next stage that we have after the Monday clearing is the Tuesday storm. Now, this is going to have rain in the morning, high elevation snow down to 5,000 feet, and thunderstorms as well. It doesn't look very organized, and that's kind of the way it's going to come together. It is disorganized as far as it's going to be spotty, but when it happens, heavy rain, strong winds, thunderstorms, and up high, heavy snow. Most of the strong winds that move through Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto have already gone through the morning, moves up to higher elevations, and then that should be it. Taking you through your forecast on this day, remember, the break is important. You're going to see nothing but cleanup. Cleanup for trees, debris, gutters that are clogged. All the things that you need to do to get water moving are going to happen Monday afternoon, because by Tuesday morning, we're back at it again. Again, strong winds, heavy rain, heavy snow as well, and this goes through the day on Tuesday. We need a bigger break, and it looks like for the most part we get some light rain on Wednesday, but we'll start to see things wind down. Ballpark for snow, 3 to 6 feet. I know that sounds like an enormous range, but honestly, it all depends on how the wind comes in. When that snow level decides to drop, it will end cold with snow. Here is the final 10-day forecast, and this is why this is important. We've got our gap today by Monday afternoon, evening. Rain again on Tuesday, somewhat of a gap Wednesday, Thursday, and then we're adding more rain to the system. Nothing major, but consistently high water for a while, with more storms in the pipeline Friday through this weekend and beyond.